Hey everyone, my name is Tammy Anderson Ward, and I'm so pleased to be here with you today. I'm the conference producer for the Energy Healing Conference, and I'm super excited today to spotlight several of our speakers that are going to be there at the Idaho Falls Conference this coming weekend. And so I want to just go ahead and share the link, first of all, to let you know about this event if you're local and you're able to drive there. And that is for the Idaho Falls Conference. We have some fantastic speakers that are going to be there. If you're not able to join in live at the Idaho Falls Conference, it's totally fine because we also have some opportunities for you to be able to join in. One of them is you can now purchase the individual conference audio recordings. We record each of the speakers. And so you'd be able to listen to them later. It does take about 6 weeks for us to get back the editing, because what we do is we increase the sound quality with a professional service and get them all ready for you. Then we also go ahead and put them all in one place, and you can listen to them at any time. So if you're interested in being able to do that, you can also click on that link there, and more details will be listed there. So kind of going over the schedule just a little bit for this Idaho Falls Conference, we start out the day with Nicole Packer, who is the local connection for yoga. In fact, her place is just right there next to the falls, and it's called the Yoga Connection. If you have been to her location, if you know Nicole, please feel free to give her a shout out. She's really fun. She's really awesome. And I love, just being around her. She's just a blast. So she's the first person on our schedule, and that's happening at 8 a.m. So you can come and go at any time. This is how our conferences run. We really like to be able to provide an opportunity for you on a Saturday to come in, get some inspiration, some learning, some connections, and also be able to enjoy some self-care opportunities there in the vendor hall as well. We've got some really fun stuff for you, and so that's really exciting. Let me tell you a little bit else about what's happening. So we also have Anne Hessian, who's coming in all the way from Rhode Island, and she's going to be talking specifically to entrepreneurs in the healthcare field and also health entrepreneurs in the energy healing industry as well. So if you're a practitioner and you want to learn more about those kind of things, you'll want to be sure to join in that class. Another class at 9 a.m. that's happening is a dear friend of mine, Janet Pippin, is going to be talking about Wounded to Warrior. And her class last time she spoke was like packed house, you guys. It was like standing room only. People came out of there so inspired and just feeling really grateful. She shares her own personal story and journey of overcoming betrayal trauma and how she was able to move on. And she does also teach some very specific tools in that class. And she's just a sweetheart. Like, Jenna is just amazing. She's also a mom of 8 kids, grandmother to 12. And she's been also a Reiki master and a transformation coach. She has a master's degree in speech language pathology. But really where she's going to be talking about and specializing in her class is all about those who have experienced trauma or even really deep betrayal. So I'm excited for her to come in and offer her services as well. She'll be doing one-on-one appointments in the vendor hall as well. The next speaker for the Idaho Falls schedule, if you're looking at that, is Sherry Red. And Sherry Red's class is called Emotions and Energy, How They Affect the Body. So if you've ever been curious about that and wanted to just know more about what that looks like, be sure to check out Sherry Red's class. Now, Sherry is somebody who she's been like seriously so entrenched in this kind of work for so long. And she now lives local in the Idaho Falls area. She moved there, I believe, from Oregon. But she experienced a lot of abuse from a very young age, which is kind of a common story amongst a lot of people. But what 3-year-old knows that is what her thing is, you know? So how less validating is that, you know, that just because other people have experienced hardship. So she's been really determined to change her story, and she's been educated and received a lot of gifts to be able to help others be assisted in that. So I'm just so excited when people can go through hard things, but then they're able to help other people. So she's going to be talking about reconnecting to the intelligence in your body and how to move through life with greater ease. So that's going to be really fun. So these are just a few of the classes that are going to be happening in the morning at the conference. And we also have, let's see, so that's the first part of our schedule. And in addition to that, at 10 a.m., Joy Beck, she joined me last night. If you didn't get a chance to watch her, explain a little bit about body code and what happens at these conferences, you can please feel free to go back and watch that video. She will be offering foot zones at the vendor hall. So if you've never tried one of those and you'd like to experience that for yourself, you'll have to go check that out. Her class is called Joy-Centered Healing for the Whole Family. The next speaker at the 10 o'clock time is Mike Shirtliff, and he's going to be talking about energy of the crystals and gemstones. And I know that he's prepared some very special gifts and pendants with crystals for all of the attendees in his class and people who stop by his vendor space as well. So you'll want to be sure to go and look for Mike Shirtliff. That's his name. Marlise Hyde is also going to be speaking at the 10 o'clock hour. She will be going over microcurrent and what that is. Microcurrent. Have you heard of that before? Speaking the body's bioelectric language. And so Marlise, you guys, she's just awesome. Marlise is like, when my husband has had some long-term kind of chronic effects on some of his muscular structure, he's been able to go to her at the vendor spaces and she'll work on him and things just get aligned and shift. And some of you may have known I had a traumatic brain injury last spring. And I went into the conference that she did in St. George last April, and she put her devices on me and you could literally feel it flowing. And my neck was like kind of twitching a little bit and moving around as my muscles were getting stimulated. But it's so much more. It's not like a TENS unit, but that's how I would describe how it felt. But it literally works with all of your systems. So she's going to be talking more about that. My husband and I are very excited to be able to get one of her systems for our own home. She empowers people and trains them how to use the stuff that she has. So it's not just an educational, but she also allows people to be able to use that too. So she's always known that she wanted to be a healer, and she even started out as an EMT before graduating high school. Then she progressed through CNA, LVN, and finally to RN as she graduated from BYU with her bachelor degree. So you guys, like, she has a lot of this background education and then learned about it's called microcurrent therapy. And she became a professional practitioner, opened her own clinic, which is called Erasing Pain. And that's in Sacramento. So I'm so excited she'll be coming all the way to Idaho Falls to introduce her device to you. And if you are kind of in the market for something like that, I recommend looking at hers too. You know, there's a lot of different things that are out there. So she uses her prior electrical stimulation experience to advance the applications of the technology, creating accessories to make therapy easier to administer for both patients and practitioners. And of course, you can also use it on yourself. So she's currently the national training coordinator for the Academy of Applied Bioelectrophysiology, standardizing curriculum and organizing training sessions and teaching workshops nationwide, excuse me. I read that wrong. I read work and then nationwide, and it went to worldwide. So I want to make sure I completely enunciate that correctly. It's nationwide. But now with 25 years experience encompassing both traditional and alternative medical therapies, her goal is to empower and assist each client to achieve their own maximum health by utilizing and balancing all available modalities. So I don't know exactly how you guys are, but like, I like to know a little bit more about what's on the schedule, kind of have somebody explain a few things to me. And that's what we're doing today while we have 3 of our speakers coming on to share more about what their classes are going to be happening and how you can connect with them. So even if you aren't able to go to the Idaho Falls conference, you're going to be able to connect with them. Okay. So we have, let's see, we're going to have Shelly Jo is going to be joining us from Hypno Aminos. And we're also going to have Torrie Miller, who's going to be joining us from Mill Creek Wellness. And she will be having a giveaway for Lumaceuticals trial therapy. I'm so excited for that. So one lucky person on here today is going to be able to get a chance at that. And then we also have Lamont Wilcox and his beautiful daughter, McCall. So this is going to be a lot of fun today. We're going to be here for a while. I'm going to turn some time over to them too, so they can even explain a little bit more details about what's going to be happening. But in the meantime, if you are local to the Idaho Falls area, I want to make sure you know that we do have some free tickets that are remaining if you would like to come. We've had some people reach out to us in the last day or two asking if we still have space, and we do. So we are right now about 550 people registered for this event in just the beautiful little Idaho Falls area right there next to the falls. We've been doing conferences there since 2014, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you have been before, go ahead and give us a shout out. If you are just curious and interested, please feel free to come by and check us out. We're going to be at the Hilton Garden Inn on Saturday from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And the vendor area is open to the public, so you can just come right on in and check it out. We've got all these fun classes for people who do have tickets or who are pre-registered, so you can also participate in that as well. At 11 a.m., I'm going to be teaching the basics class on how to use crystals. It's probably one of the most common questions that we get written into our emails, to our Facebook messages, and also to my private email as well. So I have people ask me all the time, like, what are my favorite crystals? How do I use them? What kind of things, like, how do you know it's working? What's the science behind it? And I will be diving into all of that at 11 a.m. at my class called Basics, How to Use Crystals. Also at the 11 a.m. hour, we're going to have Trevor Demick, who is going to be talking about experiencing life without ADHD, dyslexia, APD, anxiety, and depression as well. So he has been doing brain cross-analogy and balancing for years now. He is traveling all the way from the Spanish Fork area. He's down by Price, Utah, and he'll be in the Idaho Falls area as well for this conference. We also have another local, Dan and Annika Wilder. And if you guys haven't ever experienced any work with them, they both do healing work. She specializes more in the tapping part of it, and I hope that she'll be offering those at the vendor space, because people absolutely love that, especially because so much science has come up to pass now. Even the VA has approved it in many cases for the help of the condition of PTSD. They use it a lot for veterans and those who've been wounded and had their own experiences. I absolutely love it because tapping has helped me with so many things. Like I was in something simple, like I was in a car accident and I had a lot of emotional trauma trying to get back into driving. And that's been something that's supported me in that. And then of course, at noon, we're going to have Shelly Jo come on and talk in a few minutes about brain health, cravings be gone with amino acid therapy. And she's also an accomplished hypnotherapist as well. Robin Johnson will also be speaking at the noon hour. She'll be focusing in on how to help people who would like to be a life coach, and then also heart-centered therapy. She specializes in that and is very good at that. Also at the noon hour, and so you're going to want to like maybe bring your lunch or, kind of have something planned to go, because we have literally back-to-back classes going from 8 a.m. all the way until 6 p.m. So if you need to pack a snack or a trail mix or something in your bag so that you're ready to go, please feel free to do that so that you're all set. Also at the noon hour, we have Krista Jo Palmer, who is going to be coming in, and she's going to be talking about expanding capacity for genius, simple healing solutions that you can do with that as well. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Oh, Shelly, I just saw your message. You don't have a link. Kathy sent it to you. So if you want to see that, Shelly doesn't have the link. Sorry about that. Let's get that over to you right away. Okay. So she's going to be joining us in just a moment. Thank you so much, Shelly Jo, for letting me know. I appreciate you. You're such a sweetheart. And then we have Torrie that's going to be coming on today talking about harmonic light therapy for ultimate family wellness. And that's actually what I'm going to go do. I'm going to do a light therapy session while Shelly Jo comes on and talks to you guys for a few minutes, because I've got my own system right here that I use for clients during my foot zones that I do just here in Tremont, Utah. And then also I use them for my family on a daily basis. We use them. So I'm excited about that as well. Jason Starling is also at 1 o'clock, and he'll be talking about empaths and anxiety. And let's see, if we've got Shelly Jo on, I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to Shelly Jo. And yeah. Hey girl, how are you? I'm so sorry that you didn't have the link.
That's okay. I'm like, I can't get on. Where? I can get on.
You are totally fine. You are totally fine. Well, I'm just so excited that you're here. I'm going to turn the time over to you. But before I do, I'd like to go ahead and just put your website up so that the people who are watching either on the live or on the replay can check out your details and get connected with you. Here's her website, hypnoaminos.com. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, Shirley.
I have a helper today. You know, normally my husband's here to watch my grandbaby, and I don't normally bring her on to my shows with me because I don't know whether it's super super professional, but it is live. So you guys get to say hello to baby Ashton. She's so cute, and she's going to be here hanging out with me. You're going to wait for him, say hello. I'm so excited to come to Idaho, guys, to share with you some really great things. It's about the brain. Obviously, I speak about the brain because I love the brain. I love it, love it, love it. And it lights me up. I like to geek out of it because the things I have learned in the last 5 years are phenomenal, guys. And what's better is when you learn about it, you can go, wow, it makes more sense why I'm doing what I'm doing instead of feeling amazing. And that's what I'm going to be talking about on Saturday. It's brain, body, and emotional connection, right? It's like a three-legged stool. Feed the brain, feed the body, feed the emotion. You guys, we are a multifaceted human being, right? We're not single dimensional. We're multifaceted. And a lot of times we're going to say, I want to feel better. So let's take sugar for a minute, because everybody understands how sugar feels and what it tastes like and why we like it. But did you know that one of the reasons you may like it even the most is that your brain is saying, I need something to feel better. Give me something now. And sugar is that thing that can make a huge difference so fast that the brain becomes addicted to it and the brain likes it. And when you don't give it to it, it takes you hostage and says, I don't care that you don't want sugar. Give me sugar now, right? So let's say that you decide, I want to get off sugar. Okay? It's not good for me to have this much sugar. It's not good for my health. So I'm going to get off of it. So there's an emotional attachment when it comes to sugar. It's kind of like our emotional blanket, right? And so we're holding on to this going, no, you don't get to take my sugar because it's feeding me emotionally. And the brain says, no, I need sugar to balance. And so I need it. I'm going to take you hostage. So even though you're like, what, not going to go, and I can stay away from sugar, it's almost impossible to stay away from sugar because your brain is like, no, you need sugar. I need sugar. And I'm going to do whatever I can to get my sugar. Sorry. So that's the first thing is looking at the whole body, brain, body, and emotions. I just went to a conference last weekend, and it was the first time I actually let people try all the amino acids while I was there. And it was so fun because they come back and they would say, oh my gosh, these are amazing. Because when you trial them, you take a little capsule, and I was going to show you this, but somehow my little cup has vanished in the last 10 minutes because I have such a helper. But you'll take this and you're going to put it in just like this much water. Okay. You're going to open it up, put it in there, and you're going to take it and you're going to see a huge difference. Put it in your mouth. You're going to see how you feel in 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. Because when you take it sublingually, you put it in your mouth, you swish it around for a minute. What happens is it goes under here. You have what's called a mucous membrane. And what it does is it allows things to go into the bloodstream quicker. It goes into the brain faster. And that gives you a really good understanding of how you feel in these. And if, let's say you are, and this is how I like to have you write it, or have you figure out where you're at. 0 meaning, oh my gosh, I feel the best I've ever felt. 10 meaning, I feel the worst I've ever felt. Okay. Whether it's your energy, whether it's feeling like anxiety or depression, or feeling like you need something to comfort or reward, like for the endorphins. You know how you feel. So the great thing about these, what I do is you know how you feel. So you're following those feelings, right? And so by sampling these, that's what these are right here, is you can tell in 5 minutes. I was a 10. I needed something. And now I'm either like at a 1 going, oh my gosh, I feel great. Like, let's say it's energy, right? That was where I was low in. I was low in energy when I first learned about the brain and what the brain needed. And I would just turn to sugar. And I turned to sugar in large amounts. I had sugar with me all of the time. So when I took an amino acid that helps with sugar, hey, come here. Come over here. Come help Grandma. When I took an amino acid that helped with sugar and helped with energy, all of a sudden, within 5 minutes, I went to about a 5 that says, here I am. I'm sleepy. I need a nap. Give me some Good and Plenty's and a Diet Coke. And within 5 minutes, I felt like, wait a minute, I'm not a 10 anymore. Now, it's also that weird freaky moment there. You're like, okay, I think it's working because this is really weird, but does it really work that fast? Or am I just imagining it? So then you take one more, and I went from a 5 down to 0. So for the first time in a long time, I was no longer craving the sugar or the caffeine, and I had energy. And that's when I knew. I was like, wait a minute. Could these really help? Could these really help? Many of you on here have heard my story that I was looking for answers for my daughter, because my daughter at age 15 came to me in tears. Mom, I'm tired of being a doctor's science project. I just want to feel normal. Because at age 6, she was diagnosed with anxiety, and we did what we could. We got her on medications. We got her on some therapy. And yet at age 15, she was still feeling that way, and unfortunately turned to drugs and alcohol to feel better. It didn't make sense to me. I didn't understand it, and it was crazy. I'm not going to tell you the whole stuff thing, because if you haven't heard my story, it's pretty powerful, and I'm going to tell you on Saturday. But I ended up wanting to find information on what can help her. Addiction made no sense to me. Even sugar addiction made no sense to me. So I went to learn as much as I could about the brain, and I learned about these really cool chemicals in the brain called neurotransmitters that fire happy, calm, feel-good chemicals. And when they're firing, they're amazing. But when they stop, it's symptoms like anxiety, depression, worry, lack of energy, lack of sleep, stress. And what do? We turn to something to feel better. Sugar, starches, drugs and alcohol. Behaviors such as too much shopping, too much gaming, too much gambling, too much social media, too much being stuck to our phone, so much that you get on for a second. Next thing you know, it's been 2 hours and you're like, oh my gosh, I just wasted all of my energy on social media, right? Now, by learning which of the neurotransmitters aren't firing, that's when you can feed it the specific amino acid. And amino acids are just the building blocks of protein. And you get protein from, sometimes your body produces amino acids. Sometimes you can get it from food, you get it from a supplement, but they're specific to the brain. And by feeding them what the brain needs, what it does is it balances the brain, reduces the cravings, and reduces the symptoms. Crazy, right? For example, I had one of my friends, she texted me and she said, how can you help my 12-year-old daughter? She's struggling. She's very emotional. She cries all the time. What can you do? And she already had my product, so she was just calling to say, what can I give my 12-year-old? And I said, well, it's winter time. Winter, serotonin drops, right? That's why winter blues becomes a real thing. So if you're living in Utah or Idaho Falls, where it's cold, it's easy to get winter blues. So I said to her, look, it could be that her serotonin is low. So the first thing I'm going to tell you to do is I'm going to have you give her some 5-HTP, which is going to help her to boost the serotonin, which can help with the winter blues. Then I said, how about give her some DLPA, which is DLPA, which is diphenylalanine, and it helps to boost the endorphins. And then let me know. And she sent me a text the very next day, and she's like, holy SHIT, blah, blah, blah. I can't believe the difference. She says, I gave it to her this morning, and I can see she's happier. She's smiling. She's interacting. She has had some things that normally would have caused her to feel to have an outburst, and she hasn't. And I was like, oh my gosh, those are the kind of things, kind of stories I love to hear, because it makes me smile. It's like, yes, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because had I known about these things when my daughter was 6, she may not have turned to drugs and alcohol at age 15. Because you know what? At age 6, she wasn't an addict. And had I known about all these things when she was that young, she may not have turned to drugs and alcohol at age 6. That's the power of the amino acids. I had this other girl. She was so cute. She came to me. She's like, she was at the conference, and she's like, and let me tell you, the only reason I let them trial them is because it was like a 3-day conference. So it was like you could trial them one day and then decide if they worked. So she's like, what can I do? And she's like, I want to trial 5-HTP. I'm like, great. Okay, that works. That'd be great. So I give it to her. I teach her how to trial them. And she says, she comes back and she's like, oh my, she goes, I am freaked out. And I'm like, why? And she's like, she went to eat and she ordered a salad. And she's like, she ordered lemonade, a salad, and some kiwi lime pie. And she's like, she took the salad and she's like, I ate a little bit, just normal, but I didn't need excess. And I went to drink the lemonade, which is my favorite lemonade. And I couldn't. After a couple sips, she's like, that was just way too sweet. I just didn't even want it. She says I had to dump some of that out to add some water so it wasn't quite so sweet. And then I took a couple bites of the key lime pie. And I didn't even want any. And she was like, I'm freaked out. That freaks me out because it happens so fast. I had another lady who tried some tyrosine. She was getting ready to speak. And the tyrosine helps to feed the dopamine, which is your energy, your drive, your focus. And she took it right before she was speaking. And it gave her some clarity, gave her just a little bit of boost rather than having something that's like coffee or something that's going to give you a false feeling of what you need, or you're gonna spike and crash. I'm sorry. Come here. This is why I don't do my clients in the morning.
Do you want to go?
No.
Because I'm fine either way. I've got kids, I've got grandkids. I get it.
I love it. No, I'm good. We got this. I just don't want the noise to be so noisy that she's like, It's like, really? Seriously. She's supposed to be napping. My husband's supposed to be home. Yes. Life happens. Anyway, those are just a couple stories of what the amino acids do and how powerful they are, because you're just feeding the brain what the brain is missing. It's not like you're giving it something it doesn't know what to do with. I'm going to be teaching you about that when at the conference. The other thing I'm going to talk about is the power of our mind, the power of our thoughts, and why our thoughts are so powerful, and what it looks like when they aren't. And I'd love to have her play. She's going to play the drums for you. Anyway, but it's the power of the mind. And I like to talk to people and ask them in my class, how powerful is our imagination? If you've ever been around a child, like this one, but normally around like let's say a 5-year-old, 3 to 5-year-old, and they have such an imagination, right? And that's why I love hanging out with my grandkids. I mean, this to me is a normal feat of having her and having them here. But I love it. I love it because they have energy and they have imagination, right? If you've ever had a 5-year-old and they start to play a game called The Floor is Lava, right? And it's all of a sudden like, the floor is lava. And then the music is like, bah, 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 but you got to hurry and jump on the counter or up on the couch because the floor turns into lava. And if you don't get off the floor, you're going to die, right? And that's what's fun about being around children. Well, if I asked you, what happens to our imagination as you get older? And most people say we lose it or it's not as strong. But I want to ask you this question. Have you ever had a thought and your imagination takes over and this could be good. This could be interesting. Anyway, your imagination takes over and you spiral into the future, into this what if story, right? And our imaginations are so powerful that the what if story is like, oh my gosh, what if this happens? And normally it's going to be a negative, right? And then we create this story so strongly that we literally start to believe that this is what's going to happen. This is what's coming in the future, right? Well, if I asked you what percentage of those things actually come to pass exactly the way you imagine them, usually it's maybe 5%, maybe. Most times it's 0%. Yet we get this little thought, our imagination takes over and we spiral into the future. That's where anxiety comes from. And it's wasted energy, right? So learning to let it go. Now, the other thing is we get a little trigger. Something comes up Reminds us of something in the past, makes us sad or angry or frustrated or hurt. And instead of dealing with it, we go, oh, I don't want to deal with that. So I'm just going to stuff it. And I'm going to stuff it, I'm going to stuff it, I'm going to stuff those emotions. And something little tiny is going to happen, and I'm going to explode. And usually this has nothing to do with the explosion. It's just we've stuffed so much that it's hard to hold on to it, right? So we explode. We all have things in our past that some are terrible, some are awful, some whatever it is that brings us to where we are today. And those memories are what make us who we are. The challenge is it's not the memory that's the problem, it's the emotion that's attached to it. So when that memory comes up, we also carry all that emotional baggage, right? That makes it feel like it just happened yesterday, but when it could have happened when we were like 5, right? So part of what we want to do is to be able to recognize and get the aha and heal that little child and get to the point where we can let go of the emotion and say, yeah, these things happen to me. Makes me who I am today. I can teach from them. I can learn from them. I can have empathy for others who are going through what I'm going through. But I no longer have to carry all that emotional baggage. Because we can't change the past, right? So it's just wasted energy. So the same thing, letting go of the past, letting go of the future. The challenge is we've allowed ourselves, if we struggle with anxiety, depression, you've allowed yourself to go in and out of the past and the future. And you skip the very part where you feel joy and peace, and that's in the present moment. Eckhart Tolle calls it the power of the now. And when you can hone in on the power of the now and get your thoughts to live into the power of the now, the right now, right here, right now, that's where your strength is. That's where your energy, that's where your peace. Oh, sorry. Here. That's where all of that amazingness comes into. And it's just learning the power that you have to bring yourself into the present moment. And how do we do that? I do that with hypnosis. I'm a certified hypnotherapist. And I come in and I help you to find your way and maneuver through those emotions, those past experiences, and heal that little child and heal those moments. You know, I had this client come to me a while ago, and he had a block on finances. And I said, you know, as he was telling me about it, he's like, yeah, several years ago, I lost my job and I lived in fear that I was going to be homeless. And then there was like a few years ago when something happened and you know, when 2020 happened and I had to live on my savings. And so I feel like I didn't have enough money that was going to last me. And now I'm older and I'm looking going, I don't know how I'm going to survive because I don't have a lot of, you know, I don't have a lot of retirement and I'm afraid. And if you can see, there's a pattern there, right? There's a pattern in I'm afraid and I'm going to be homeless. I'm going to have no money. And I said to him, okay, what happened? Hello. I said, what happened when this happened the first time? Did you lose your job? You lost your job, but were you homeless? He's like, no, this is what happened. And it all worked out. Okay. What happened a couple of years ago when you thought, oh my gosh, I've losing all my money. I've lost my money. I've gone through too much. And he's like, I survived. I did good. I'm okay. So if you have this pattern of everything always turns out, it's getting out of that thought process that says, oh my gosh, now I'm in this state. I'm going to be homeless, or I'm not going to have the money to get me through the rest of my life. And that was an aha to him to go, wow, you're right. I am so focused on this, what may happen, the what ifs, right? And I said, do you have a crystal ball? No. Do you really know what's going to happen in the future? Well, no. So come back to the present moment. Come back to what you can control right this minute, because where we are today is based on the thoughts from the past of what was going to, where we are to be. So where we are today, we are creating our future. And what do you want that to look like? If you are stuck in this scarcity, that life's going to be terrible, I'm going to lose my job, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to lose my money. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to create that. But when you can come back to the power now, bring yourself to this present moment and change your thought processes, that's how manifesting works. And that's the power of utilizing hypnosis, whether it's for finances or whether it's for weight or whether it's for past trauma. It's getting your subconscious to see things different and letting it go. And it's going to be fun because I'm actually going to do some processes in my class on Saturday at noon and let you feel what it feels like to do some hypnosis and to feel the power of your thoughts. And it's going to be so much fun. We'll talk about amino acids, nutrition. We're going to talk about how to change your thoughts through hypnosis. And then I'm going to excitedly explain to you my new program that's called Finally Feel Good Now. And it's amazing. It gives you the chance to learn how amino acids work, to have some group hypnotherapy. Guys, it's so cool. And I'm so excited to be there because I love the conferences. Tammy, I love you so much. You need to know how much I absolutely love you and the conferences because the energy is wonderful. You get to come and you get to learn. The vendors are so amazing. The speakers, the presentations that you get to hear are just so phenomenal. And it gives you a different perspective of what's available. It's opening up your life to an alternative that why not bring all tools together to create the life you want? Why not use alternatives? Why not use medical? Why not use everything that's available now for your good and know that there are all these different tools that you can come and learn about and see the power that's out there when you're not even aware of it. I know that the first time I attended my first energy healing conference, I knew nothing. I was a baby when it came to energy. I was a brand new hypnotherapist, but all the stuff in the energy healing stuff made no sense to me at all. The only thing, the first thing I recognized is I walked in and I was like, these are my people. Where have you been all my life? Because I just felt it. I felt the love. I felt the positive. And I didn't know a whole lot about energy healing at that time, but I knew I wanted to know and learn what I could. So I did. I learned about all the different modalities in energy healing. And now I bring a lot of them together in hypnosis, whatever tools I need to help my client. And it's powerful, guys. I'm telling you, I've seen miracles. I've seen miracles with people taking the amino acids and changing their diet, just tweaking it a little bit. It doesn't have to be complicated, guys. It's actually really simple with how you can make your body healthy. And one of the biggest things I can tell you is eat protein. Protein feeds every single cell of your body. And so protein, whether you get it in through meat or through a supplement or through powder or a drink, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. It's just that you got to have protein because protein breaks down into amino acids. Amino acids feeds every single cell of your body. That would be my first tip to you. Actually, I have 5 tips. You ready for these 5 tips? These are basic. First thing is eat protein 3 times a day. The second thing is decide on amino acid. Decide which neurotransmitter needs to be, could use the most help the fastest. Start with that one. Usually it's to help the serotonin, but not necessarily always. So it would be 5-HTP. And then I usually say GABA, because a lot of people who are struggling physically have a hard time calming down, right? Relaxing. So those would be the two I would just, a lot of times those are the ones that people need. Then the third thing is a good multivitamin. The reason is because a lot of times our vitamin and minerals have become depleted. And so even just a good multivitamin can make a big difference. And there are different vitamin minerals that help with the absorption of the amino acids so that your body utilizes it better. The fourth tip would be to drink water. Four. There we go. Four of them is to drink water. 30 to 50 ounces a day, because our body needs the water. And then the fifth is to write down 1 to 3 things per day that you're grateful for. Why? Because then what it does is it stops when you have a broken software program that keeps running in your mind. Either I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not this, I'm not that, whatever. It's running there because there's a reason. But when we can get that software program to change, just by being grateful, finding 1 to 3 things that you're grateful for that you can write down, and it will help you to kind of break that program, start to let your mind think a little bit more different. That's where the power is. That's how you get utilizing just those 5 tips can make a huge difference. It's pretty basic. And if you can do that, you can make a big difference. That's what I tell my clients. If you can do those 5 things, I can help you. Now, if you don't, like my amino acids, they are pretty. They're really, really pretty. I mean, look how pretty this bottle is. Okay. I've seen miracles of people that take these, but they're not magic. So if you don't take them, they're not going to do nothing. They're going to be like these beautiful supplements on your shelf, and then it's a waste of money. So
that is true. You do have to take it, so that's awesome. Well, thank you so much. I was thinking about you while I was skiing last weekend. I was like, Shelly Jo loves to ski. I would love to go skiing with her, and feeling so grateful for all the information over the years that you've taught me and shared with me. And then so many people, having tools for them too. Like, that is so cool.
I love you, Tammy. This has been fun. You've been my biggest support, and you are amazing. Amazing. And I would love to be skiing with you. I saw that and I was like, I want to be skiing with you.
What's funny is I didn't go skiing for like 20 years. You know what I mean? So I was kind of scared to start doing it again. I think, I just had all these babies, and honestly, the first part, like the first little part there of why I didn't go was because we didn't have the money to have everybody go. But then when that wasn't an issue anymore, then I was just scared. I just didn't want to do it. But I'm flying down the mountain and I'm thinking, this is so fun.
I know.
I wish I would have had that fear hold me back for so long, because it really is something I enjoy doing. But anyway, it made me think of you so much, because I know that's something that you love too. And, you've been able to take really good care of yourself over the years and face your fears head on and enjoy life. You know what I mean? So
yes, I do. I do. I love it. I love life. And let's see, what are we? March, April, May, June. In 3 months, I'm going to be 60 years old.
That's cool. That's crazy. Fun. That is way fun. Well, I was just talking to my dad this morning, and I was telling him how proud I was that he was able to stay off of drugs for so long. He's been clean for almost 24 years. And, you and I talk about that because of, the situation that happened with your daughter, and then with myself and my dad as well. And he said, it wasn't easy, but it's a lot easier when you're in prison to not do it. But people who maybe aren't confined like that, who are looking for help to be able to get off of something, even as extreme as meth, to be able to have an option, So I just think it's awesome. And anyone who is watching right now, whether on live or on the replay, if you know somebody who's struggling with things like sugar, of course, that's a given.
Yeah.
We were talking about that. But like I've come off of meth and I've come off of sugar. And honestly, sugar was harder. Sugar was harder. I got nosebleeds. I shook like crazy when I stopped sugar.
Oh.
I didn't have that. I did shake. I had other stuff, but I'm just so proud that you have gone and gotten the education to help your daughter, but you're also able to help so many other people. So thank you. It means a lot to me. So no wonder why I can get behind what you do so easily, right? It's like very, very personal, and I've had people come up to me and say, I didn't know that you used to do that. I'm like, I've been clean for 25 years this May. So yes, you can do it, like you can, and you can get your life back. It's not easy, but there's help. Things like the amino acids, so people who work at drug treatment facilities and stuff will reach out to you. People who are mental health therapists. I know one that's on our schedule for the Idaho Falls event. She uses your products regularly for her clients because they work. They're effective. It's not just you saying that they're effective. It's like all these people across the whole freaking country. In fact, I know I've seen your map. You have people all over the place that use your product and have used it successfully. So I appreciate you very much.
Love you, Tammy. Thank you so much. More than you know. How grateful for you. So
thank you. Back at you, girl. All right. Well, you go enjoy that grandbaby.
I do. Thank you for having patience with me. Yes. Is it the best thing? No, but you know what? Gosh, I love being a grandma. It's the best.
Me too.
And yeah, I'm going to go take care of her and then take care of my other grandkids because they're coming over tonight for a sleepover. And then I'll leave tomorrow for Idaho Falls. I'm ready. I am so ready. I'm so ready.
That is awesome. All right, cool. We'll see you there. Thanks so much, friend. See you later. Oh my gosh. Wouldn't she be like the coolest grandma, you guys? I just think she'd be so fun. I remember when she hurt her wrist, I think she got a broken wrist or something like that. Because she was roller skating with her grandkids. I'm like, my grandma broke both of her elbows at the same time. And she was roller skating with a bunch of her grandkids. I just think that's so fun. Makes me want to be an even better grandma. You know what I mean? So fun. All right. Well, our next speaker is the amazing Torrie Miller. I'm going to go ahead and bring Torrie on. I'd love to have her introduce herself and tell us a little bit more about what's going on in the land of light. How are you, my friend?
Hello, I'm good. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Yeah. How are you?
Oh, great. The sun is shining. It is a wonderful day, right?
Heck yes. All right. I am actually very pleased to see blue skies. Heck yes.
Yes. The only thing better if skis were under my feet. I'm a skier too. I love it so much.
Awesome. That is so awesome.
How you can live in a winter wonderland and not have a winter sport. You have to, right?
It's so fun. It definitely makes winters a lot more exhilarating and, not quite as gloomy when you're out there. I even think I got a little bit of sunburn the first time I went. And I'm like, I didn't know the sun actually existed, during these months, but it was wonderful. So
we forget. And with March coming, like our bodies are just starting to crave, you're like, hey, snow needs to melt, like we're craving it. And that's why I love light so much, right? Because through all those times, I always have, this pad right here. It goes right on your eyes. So I always think, just imagine yourself at the beach because you know how bright it is, right, Tammy?
Oh, yeah.
It's so great. Yeah. So I've been using lights for about 7 years. So I've seen a lot of amazing things happen.
That is awesome. I don't know how long I've had mine, but I am ordering the helmet. So I'm so freaking excited.
Yes, I will show these guys. This is our newest product. It's our helmet.
Will you tell about that and about what it's good for and everything? I know I got to use it before it even went out on the market just to kind of test it.
Lucky you. Yes.
So I can't wait for people to actually be able to get that. And I know that you can use it for more than just the head. Yeah. So I'll turn it over to you though, because otherwise I'm just going to interrupt you because I'm so excited.
Oh, it's fine. I could talk all day, but we only have 30 minutes, right? Yes, I'm going to talk about this in just a minute. But to get started, everyone is like, why are you here? How did you hear about light? And everyone has their story, right? They have something. I try to tell people, don't wait till you have something that you're like, I really need to use those lights I've been hearing about. Just get them now, and then you might not have the something. But that's the story for another day. So I didn't do that. I didn't even know that it was a thing you could have, in your house. I'm a very active person. In the summer, I'm outside and hiking and running, triathlons. In the winter, I cross-country ski, downhill ski, anything I can do outside, I am doing it. And I love sun. Always have. And same with my mom. So she was the grandma, right? She actually fell off the ski lift with my daughter and broke her femur. Isn't that crazy? Anyways, but she recovered and skied the next year. That's how awesome she was. Anyways, so I just love to be outside. So light would only make sense to have more of it to me. I had had an overuse injury and had broken my foot. And it was super painful. It was supposedly all healed. And the doctor's like, see you later, right? You're all healed. And it was still super painful. I remember sitting in the grocery store or the parking lot thinking I needed to walk to the back of the grocery store for butter or something. And I really had to think about it. And I thought, I am too young, too active to have to think about not wanting to go to the back of the grocery store. And it was so great because my friend called around the same time and said, you should try these lights. And I was like, what are they? How does this work? And she's like, it's really great. There's this trial program. You can just have them in your house and try them for a couple of weeks. And the first time I tried them, I got on the lights and I put that eye mask on. I put some other pads, we've got these other big pads. You put them, around your organs. And I sat there for 20 minutes and I remember the light shut off and I was like, I could not remember the last time I'd been that relaxed, like ever, for years. I mean, I have 4 little kids. I was homeschooling them. We wanted to go from one fun thing to the next. I mean, we're super busy. And I don't think I ever sat down for 20 minutes like that. And so my body was like, what is going on? You are so relaxed. I remember thinking, I don't even want to lift my arms. I'm so relaxed. And I was like, wow, I don't know if my foot's going to feel better, but there is something about these lights. And so as I've gotten more into lights, I've learned that really, if we are never in a relaxed state, we're never in a healing state. And a lot of us aren't. If you think about to yourself, just sit and think, what do I do every single day? And this is a good crowd, so you probably do something. But typically, most people, what do you do every single day that you make sure your body gets into a resting state, out of the fight or flight, out of your brain, blah, blah, blah. You can meditate, you can rest, you can go for a walk. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. And I wasn't very good about doing them at the time. And so lights were my thing. For 20 to 30 minutes a day, I knew for sure my body was going to get in a relaxed state. And then my liver could be like, oh, we could work on these things because it's not just trying to save my life, right? And my brain and everything else, digestive. I mean, stress, we can't avoid it. We all have it. We live in this world. And so that is the one thing I love about the lights, because honestly, you could pick, I have digestive issues, I have headaches, I have, neuropathy. You could pick all those things and just try to help that thing. But if you would just get your body in a relaxed state every day so it can heal itself, that is the best type of healing, right? Just give it this best environment. And you can do that a couple times a day with the lights. I for sure get it every day, once a day. It's right next to my bed, put them on every night. And I sleep like a baby, which at my age, I don't know. I know a lot of people who don't. So women, especially. Anyways, I was going to share my screen, but I cannot find on here where to push the button, Tammy, to do that. I'll just keep going and maybe I'll find it. I don't know.
I'm so sorry. I was actually going to go do a light therapy.
You should.
What you do is you click to turn it on. Do you see that button? And then I just have to approve it. So then it'll come on.
I see settings, present. Is it present? Present?
Yeah. Click on that.
Okay.
And then I just have to approve it really quick.
Say share screen. Okay. There we go. And then I can just say. And
it usually takes about 10 to 15 seconds for it to pop on for me to see it. But I'm still not seeing it, just so you know.
Let's try that.
Might be something with, if you're not on Chrome. Are you on Chrome?
Yes, I am. Okay, it's
I'm not
fine.
anything to approve, but anyway, okay.
Well, it won't let me push the share button, so it's probably something I don't know. Okay, well, I'm sorry, and you know what? That just happens sometimes, and it's fine. Okay, so I was going to just show you a picture of what it's going to look like at the conference, but you can imagine there's going to be a bunch of chairs, and everyone's going to be laying in the chair, and you're going to see them with an eye mask on like this, and they're going to have a blanket on, but they're also going to have, this is our red big pad. And so we have red and near infrared, and these colors are also in the helmet that we talked about earlier. And red light is what's been studied forever, right? Red is really, it's actually FDA cleared for pain management and increasing circulation. So if we increase circulation, we're increasing healing, right? Time and healing at all, and pain management. And there's hundreds and hundreds of studies that show this pad actually has near infrared and red light in it. And we like to put this pad on your back, over your kidneys, adrenals. Tons of people have lower back pain. So that's really great on the back. And then we take the blue pad, and it's the same size. It looks just like this. It also has near infrared in it and blue. So blue light is when babies have jaundice, right? And they put, they say, oh, your baby's got to go on these lights. That's actually blue light, the nanometers for that. Even though in your eyes you might not see blue, but it is blue light. And it's super detoxing to the liver, which is why obviously they put it on babies, because they're trying to help with their jaundice. So we like to put it over the gut, right? Calm down the gut. A little bit to the right will cover the liver, pancreas, all of that. So if you think about that, you have these two pads, one on the front and one on the back. We call it a light sandwich. So it's just sandwiching in all your organs and giving them a bunch of light. So that's amazing. And then sometimes we have an extra pad. Sometimes it's green, sometimes it's blue or red. And if you're getting lights on at a conference, typically we'll either just put it on the back of the neck, just because that's an awesome place. Tons of people hold their stress there. The brainstem, we try to hit the vagus nerve there, right? We want to stimulate that to get the brain talking to the nervous system. Or someone might say, is there something bothering you? Maybe your shoulder's hurting you, or I really like to put this over my heart, right? Because green is the heart chakra. And tons of studies are coming out with green light. And it's why it's included in the helmet also, mostly for pain management, chronic pain. And they just say, if you think about if you're walking out in nature, you know, you feel so calm. You have trees around you. You're feeling grounded, all of those things. And that's what green light does. And super good for chronic pain, I have noticed. And headaches, migraines especially. I find that if I use lights consistently, I don't get the migraine. So instead of like, oh, I get a migraine, what should I do? I haven't been getting them really at all. In fact, I can't remember the last time I got one. And I used to have them 3 to 4 times a month before I got lights. So happy day, because the only thing that would work was a bunch of medications that made me more sick, and then your liver, all the things, right? And so you will have one of these little extra pads. It'll be red, green, or blue. And so that's just an extra bonus. And so you will get a 20-minute session at the conference, and it's free, but everyone loves it. So I suggest you have to get there real quick. So right when you get to the conference, come and get signed up. At the end of my talk right here, Tammy has a link, and we can put it that you can enter the giveaway. I'll talk about the end. Sorry. I got lost because I thought I have my screen. Anyways, so come find us at the conference, and that is what you will get on you. Near infrared light is really great. That's why it's in almost every single pad we have. It will travel through the skin clear to the bone. So blue is kind of really good for skin up here. Green goes a little deeper, red a little deeper, and then near infrared will go through all of that clear to the bone. So the thinking is maybe that since you have blue light and near infrared in the pad, it'll just pull that all the way through, right? And all of our cells, I mean, we are light beings. We're just like a plant. We need sun, food, water to live. And so we cover up, right? We have long sleeves, and we put sunscreen on if the sun's out. We put sunglasses on. And we just really don't get the sun that we need, especially if you live in a climate where you can't go outside. So just getting that eye mask on your eyes, our light goes through our eyes straight to our pineal gland, our light meter. And so as we get older, that pineal gland gets all calcified. You've probably heard that before. And light will actually decalcify that. The reason I know this absolutely works is because I have always been super sensitive to light. Like right now in this room with all these windows, I would probably have to wear sunglasses in the past before I got lights. And it was just one of those secondary awesome things. We call it the awesome side effects of lights. It's like, you got the lights for one thing, but it's just doing all these other things that you notice later. And that was one of the things is I got in the car and drove to town with the sun out, and I hadn't even reached for my sunglasses after having the lights for a couple months. And I was like, what is going on? This is crazy. It's because my eyes were not as sensitive to the light because of using the lights and decalcifying that pineal gland. But pineal gland does tons of things, right? Hormones, sleep cycles, all those things. And so it is great to get it working again. In addition to getting all the lights do, all the wavelengths of light, the awesome benefits that each of the colors do, they also are shining at certain frequencies. So one of the lights, it's shining, it just depends, right? But if it's like 432 times a second, your eyes aren't going to notice it. Like right now, we're on 1500 hertz. So it's blinking 1500 times per second. So our eyes aren't going to see that. But you can set it to certain frequencies. So we want to set it to frequencies for relaxation. That's like our number one, right? Even though we have tons of sweeps for all different things. We have instant vacation, we have colds and flu, autoimmune, skin, all kinds, right? So you can pick all those, but really we're just focusing on with the lights, just getting the body relaxed, because we know whatever's going on with your body, finding the root cause, we might not know, but just getting your body relaxed, your body will find that and be able to actually do the healing, which is how God intended it, right? That's how he made us. So I wanted to talk a little bit about a study that was done with our light system. So there's hundreds and hundreds of studies out there on each of the different type of lights, and they do them all in these weird, crazy ways. Sometimes with, like there's one with mice, and they put green contacts in their eyes so they were seeing green, and recorded like something with chronic pain. They like burnt the mice. Anyways, they're sometimes terrible to read. You're like, oh, poor mice. But also at the same time, we're grateful because it's showing us the benefits, the amazing things of LED lights. So there's hundreds of those, but one case study that was done with our light system, it was on 586 patients. It's a therapeutic center in Utah, and it was done several years ago, but all the findings that they found are still happening now with our light systems, right? So they had 586 people, which is a significant amount to do a study. So that's awesome. And I'm going to have to look at my notes since I don't have my screen share. They got 4 B setting sessions. So B setting is one of our relaxation settings. It's really good for like emotional junk to get rid of it. It also, let's see if I can read. I can't, it's really small. Okay, pretend you're seeing a slide. Anyways, it goes through a set of frequencies that are really great for relaxing. Turning grief to joy, letting go of pain. I mean, there's several, probably 13. And it goes through, it spends a few minutes on each of those frequencies, in addition to having all the different colors, all the benefits of all the colors. So these 586 patients got 4 light sessions. I believe it was once a week for 4 weeks. That's it. Like I do my lights every day. So this is pretty cool. So only after 4 light sessions, they found 220 people. I want to make sure I tell you right. So I'm going to make sure I get right here on the right page, because if I tell you wrong, I'm going to feel sad. And I can't read my notes because they're too small. I printed them too small. But never fear. I'm here. Anyways, 220 people out of the 586 was pretty amazing results, is that they were able to, and these were all under doctor's care. No one just decided to put on the lights and decided to do these things, right? they were all under a doctor care. Anyway, 220 of them, I don't want to tell you wrong. They were able to discontinue their antidepressant medication. Okay, they were under a doctor's supervision, so no one try that. But out of the 586, 220 of them were able to discontinue their antidepressant medication. That is a significant amount, in my opinion. So 56 of them reported the acceleration of a healing process of wounds or burns or skin issues. So they were being seen for something like that, and they noticed. And I've noticed that too, if you have any sort of wound or skin issue, or if you've gotten surgery or scar tissue, it really, really helps that. So 18 of the patients labs, because they drew blood before and after they had these sessions. And 18 of them had glutathione levels that were associated with debilitating fatigue. So I don't know if you guys have heard of that. But anyways, it showed a 50% increase in the glutathione and a 15 to 25% increase in energy. So I don't know about you, but if you have debilitating fatigue and you get a 20% increase in energy, that's very significant and would actually change your life. So patients that experience social anxiety, they reported less isolation to their house, and they were motivated to go out and engage in family and church activities. And so there were 586, and 148 of them reported 50 to 75% reduction in pain. Yay! That's a pretty significant amount of people to have those results, in my opinion. And this is only using the lights once a week for 4 weeks. So I always say, if you're very consistent with the lights and just use them every day, you will be amazed at the amount of things that you will find. But it does take time sometimes. Sometimes it's immediate. I've had people come off the lights and they're like, I can actually walk on my foot. Like, they feel immediate relief. That does happen. But sometimes, I mean, if you've had whatever you're trying to help for 20 or 30 years, you'll feel something like, oh, I think this is going to work. But then if you use it consistently, it's not going to take 20 years to turn it around or to help it. It doesn't take long at all. And it's amazing. So what I love most about these lights is the 3 things that they have together. So you have each of the colors that we talked about, right? And all those benefits they have, but plus the frequencies. So you have the light, the frequency, and they're super easy to use. But, don't tell a teenager that, because they're so hard. I have to put them on my teenagers. But all you have to do is take this and put it on yourself and push play, and you can literally just lay on the couch or in bed. I don't know of a lot of tools that only require that much to do. So anyone can do it. There's, very few things that you shouldn't do lights. If you can go out in the sun, you can use the light pads typically. So it's so great. If you get these set of lights in your house for someone, for something, then the whole family can use them. I have them in the living room, so any guests that come over use them. And typically, if there's a room full of people, there's someone in this chair using lights, because why not, right? And they know I'm going to come out and be like, why is no one using the lights? So that is really awesome. So I want to tell you, so at the conference, you can come and find us really first, because we're going to have a sign-up sheet. And if there's like a speaker you really want to get to, you want to make sure you sign up around that, right? So you don't miss that. And then you don't want to come. I always get so super sad when people come at the end of the day and they want to do it and we don't have any spots. That makes me sad. So don't be that person. So come at the beginning of the day, get signed up. There's also going to be a giveaway there. So our Pro 6 system comes with all these pads I just showed you, these 4 pads. You can do a trial of them. So Lumaceuticals is a really great company, and we've all made an investment in something, and it's sitting on a shelf in the top of our closet. Guilty, right? We've all done that. And so Lumaceuticals does not want you to do that. This is actually the only thing I've bought that I need to use on myself. And I've had the lights for 7 years that I use them every day. I don't ever go without them, and I never quit talking about them. Anyways, I don't think I've bought anything that I've done that long. So I use these every day. And that's the great thing is if you go to the doctor, right, for one person, you have to pay all this money for this one person and all their tools and their medications and everything. With the lights, you can use it on anyone in your house at any time, or your neighbors or whatever that come over. Everyone's always calling me. They say, the light lady, we need to come over and do lights. Okay, so this.
Looks like she froze there for just a minute. She might be coming back on.
Oh, am
there
I
you
there?
go. You froze for just a second.
I hope you can still hear me. Anyways, can you still hear me?
I can hear you now.
Good. It was like circling. I'm like, oh no. Okay, so that will be our giveaway at the conference. So if you are on the call right now and you want to sign up right now, I do have a Google link. I don't know if you have that, Tammy. That it's a Google form. And you can go sign up. You do have to be present to win. So you need to come at 1:00 to hear me speak. And that's why I'm going to be drawing the winner. And who's ever in there, someone is going to be the lucky duck. And they are going to be able to try this whole system for 14 days for free. Usually it's $350. So that is awesome. And then you can decide, like, that's what's great about pharmaceuticals. You can just decide if you want to do it or not. I do have a giveaway for people on the call right now. Should we do that now? I have no one to pick a person. So if you want to pick a person, Tammy, I can't.
Well, if you're interested in getting a free trial with the lights for 2 weeks in your home, what I want you to do is put your name down in the comments, because for some reason, StreamYard, the service that I use, because I'm on so many different platforms, it doesn't let me see everybody's name, even if you're commenting. So if you're interested, go ahead and put your name down in the comments, and then we can go ahead and choose from there. We have 6 people on right now.
Oh,
so you have a really good chance
to good chances. Yes.
And I've had people tell me how much they love the lights, having them in their home, but I can attest, like, I saw you guys come to the conference for years, but now that I have them in my own home, it really is super remarkable. The other day, my husband woke up. He wasn't feeling super great. It was in the middle of the night. He has this esophagus thing where his esophagus tightens, and he was like under some stress from that. He was kind of like just not feeling super like himself or whatever. And he's like, what should I do? And I said, duh, like, let's do the lights. So we put the lights on him. He did 3 sessions. It was like from like 2 to 3. I was up with him, and we just changed I muscle tested through the list, and then we just put those on. We did peace and calming. We did the inflammation and infection one. And then I went back to number 17, which is my go-to.
I love 17.
Yes. Vacation.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, so Shelly Jo is the one who's saying yes. So I say we give it to Shelly Jo. What do you think?
Shelly, I would love to do that. I would love to do that. So what is the giveaway now is our Flex controller. You can plug in 3 pads, and it'll come with an eye mask and a T-pad, which is really great. It's kind of like the helmet, but it has a ton of near infrared light in it. You can put it around your head, around your foot. I like to put it up and down my IT band on my hip, or you just lay down and put it on your spine. So just covering your spine and your eye mask. Shelly, you're going to love it. I am so excited to send that to you. So I'll contact Shelly. I'm going to write it down. And then if anyone else is interested, put it on here. And then I will send you later. I will send you the link to sign up for the Pro 6 system that I will give away at the conference.
That is
Can't wait to see you all.
Yeah, thank you so much, Torrie. I appreciate you. Okay, see you, friend. Oh, that's awesome. So glad that we were able to get her on today to just be able to discuss more details about the lights. I've had so many people at the conferences say, oh, I didn't know that those were free. And I'm like, yeah, you definitely go sign up for the lights right when you get there, so that you get to choose the time that you go, and then voila, you get to just have like a little chill break. It's like the ultimate power nap at the conference. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on our next speaker. This is Lamont Wilcox and his beautiful, amazing daughter, Mikkel. So how are you guys?
We are so excited. This is like our fourth, I think, event doing energy healing conference, and we absolutely love it. So every time we have one of these coming up every month, we're like really stoked for it.
And we make such great connections. So many awesome people that are just so open-minded and just enthusiastic and passionate about helping each other and figuring out ways that they can, that we can help each other and build each other. And there's so many supportive, modalities and people, and it's just so fun. I just,
even every time we speak, people are just like so full of energy and are just participating and encouraging us. It's like you just feel at home speaking, when a lot of the times maybe you might be nervous or other people may be nervous speaking. It's like you just feel really comfortable up there in front of that group.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I've heard that same comment from quite a few of our speakers, that people are really eager to learn and to try new things. And I know, I just love our conferences. Thank you so much for saying that. Like, makes my heart so happy. I'm excited to see you guys there as well. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to you guys so that you can tell people that are watching right now more about what you guys have to offer, not just for people who are at the conference this coming weekend, but for people who are connecting either on the live or the replay too. So, all right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We're excited to share a little bit about what we're bringing to the conference and what we've discovered over time and through our own struggles and difficulties with mental health and other things. And it's been really eye-opening for us to be able to kind of dive into some neuroscience about how our brain works and what goes on inside of our brain. And we go around every day using this brain all the time, and we don't know that much about it, most of us. And so one thing that I figured out over time is that we actually can have a major impact on our life experience and our emotions and our relationships and everything that we're involved with by actually more deeply understanding how our brain works. And I spent quite a big portion of my life struggling with different mental health challenges. I would have been diagnosed with ADHD. I also had, and I think there's some other things in there, and I won't spend too much time on it, but really had a significant amount of struggle in my own life, and it affected those around me and those in my family. I had a lot of anger issues and really, I think some patterns that some would call narcissistic. I think that I had other health problems, I think, that were even affected by that, hypoglycemia and a handful of other things that I won't go into too much detail about, but a lot of things that made my life, not what I wanted. But I was a very positive person. I'll just say that even though all those things were happening, I had learned the power of being positive. And the thing that I eventually learned through this model is that being positive is great, and it's really helpful in the moment, and it helps you get through, but it doesn't necessarily directly help you solve the problems. As a matter of fact, it can go so far to where you actually kind of sweep the problems under the carpet. And
even at that time, before we had learned about all the stuff that we know now about the brain, we thought that we were really happy. And we, like he's saying, we just kind of swept those things under the rug and didn't really come to a reality of our situation, or were aware of what was going on. It was kind of like we were living in what we call a micro trance, where you're just kind of going through the motions of life, kind of going through what your brain is feeding you to feel fulfilled through, or to not be fulfilled, and to, have these struggles. And so during that time, we didn't really realize how unhappy we were until later. And so one of the things that we love to do and talk about is how to kind of wake people up and see the reality of, how happy they are. Because a lot of times people will say, I'm doing fine, or I'm doing great. And it kind of, it's a little sad. You're like, well, you don't want to just be okay or fine or great. Like that's not a way that you would want to live life. And so that's where we were in that place when we would go to different therapies or different modalities and things like that. And people would tell us this is something you're going to have to cope with or deal with for the rest of your life. And it's like, oh, like even just that feeling of, oh, I'm going to have this forever, you know, kind of coming in and accepting that in your life of, okay, this is something I'm going to have to deal with. Great. You know? And so when we were introduced to that idea of neuroplasticity, it kind of blew our minds. We were like, no way. You can actually get to a place where you can disconnect from those old patterns or those old addictions and not have to worry about them anymore and not have this, you know, not have to deal with them anymore. And that really blew our minds.
And it was very enticing, the idea that we wouldn't have to discipline ourselves through life forever with these struggles and these patterns and these things that we were experiencing. And so that really encouraged me at the time to really start pursuing and trying to figure things out, because not only was I suffering, but people around me suffering with different mental health struggles and things that were very debilitating, and even leading to things that were as severe as suicidal ideations and things like that. And so I really started to dive into the understanding behind what our brain is doing and why it's doing it, and why it was that so many different attempts to help didn't last. They would go so far, they would feel good for a while, but they didn't really keep that feeling, or you know, we would tend to go back to the old patterns and behaviors based off of maybe some environmental things that would change, or time would pass, or whatever it was. And so I started to really critically analyze what it was that was making so this neuroplasticity wasn't taking place, because my brain grasped this idea that neuroplasticity was a real thing, that you could actually rewire and completely change the way that your brain thinks. And some of the concepts I learned along the way, and some of the key things I learned from the neuroscientists, was that one is that our brain runs off of a chemical system. So everything that our brain does, and every time that those neurons fire in our brain, the neuroscientists will say it's because those neurons are trying to get chemical needs met. So the neurology within our brain, and when I say brain, I mean our brain, our heart, and our gut, and where we have all these neurons, our nervous system, that it is all firing, and it's doing all this to get chemical needs met. And so the neuroscientists, when they look at the brain of someone who has a mental health struggle and someone who has an addiction, it actually looks the same, because it's all about these chemical deficits and these chemical needs that the brain needs. And that's what drives all of our thinking, our perceptions, our actions, and our responses to our environment.
Because even think about that for a moment in your own life, maybe some habits or some addictions or some things that you keep doing over and over. And on a conscious level, you're realizing that, you know, this anxiety or this depression or this frustration, like, I really don't want it in my life. And it's really detrimental in these areas and something I don't want. But yet you find yourself still doing that same behavior. Like, there's no change. And you're like, what is going on? Like, I keep telling myself to not do this thing, but yet I keep doing it. And it's because your brain is getting a chemical reward through that feeling, through those feelings of frustration or anger, all those feelings you don't want to feel. And so that's why your brain keeps doing it. On a subconscious level, you're getting chemically rewarded. And so that right there is a life-changing concept for everyone to understand, that those things are just addictions. And if you're able to know that they're just addictions in the brain, and that your brain is getting chemically rewarded for those, then you can change that chemical reward and switch it to something that's being chemically rewarded through something that you want in your life. And so it's all about just managing those ways that your brain is getting rewarded, and you can have control over that.
And so I started to come up with, based off of this neuroscience that was coming out, some really new discoveries in neuroscience and also psychology. I really started to obsess and research and study. And I was in a position where I could do that a lot. I could study 10, 12, and even 16 hours a day sometimes. And so I really, because, you know, pain is a great driver to take us to action. And that was what I was doing. I was recognizing the pain that I was in at a higher level. And so I was seeking to address that. And so as I started to put this together, I started to realize a new version of how to work through and make this transformation. As opposed to finding relief from pain, I started to find this concept of transformation, where we can transform our experience so much so that the chemicals shift and they change, and the neuroplasticity, the connectivity of how our brain was put together as a child and as we were developing, that has been debilitating, can start to be massively beneficial to us. We can actually start to rewire and change the way that we actually use our brain in such a way that our natural patterns that we create will become beneficial to us, to help lead us and guide us into the place that we want to be and the place we want to feel, to lead us to our goals and to the things that we want in life. And as I started to put together these concepts, I realized that there were a certain number of foundational concepts or constructs in which we use our thinking. And as I started to discover each one of these, I put them into a model. And this model I started to use to help not only myself, and I started to see some massive shifts and changes within myself that just really blew my mind. Massive, life-changing, huge perspective shifts that made me realize that this whole world was different than what I thought it was, that my experience was different than I thought it was. And it was so life-changing for me and those around me and the people that I worked with and neighbors and friends and family that I shared it with a doctor that was a functional neurologist who was a specialist in TBIs, traumatic brain injuries, here in Lehigh. And he said, well, that aligns with, all the stuff I understand about neurology, and that sounds amazing. So let me send you a few of my clients. And he sent some clients, and they had massive shifts in just one day as I taught them this model. And so he invited me to open an office in his clinic to work with his patients on a daily basis. And so for 2 years, and one of those years, Mikkel was with me, we worked with patients from that office, and we saw just incredible results from people with even major mental struggles, lifelong battles with mental struggles, and see them just really shift in a massive way and change those patterns. And it was just phenomenal. It was such a blast. I mean, we worked with people everywhere from, struggling with, generalized anxiety or depression, all the way to people that struggle with self-harm and suicidal ideations and, severe, even schizophrenia and dissociative disorders. And I mean, really extreme things that we were able to help in such a big way.
And even imagine if we were able to help someone with schizophrenia struggling on that high of a level and take them to, a place where they don't have those symptoms anymore, they don't feel that way. Imagine what we could do with someone who's not struggling on that severe of a level, right? It's all about brain success. And wherever your brain is successful, it's about enhancing that area and improving in those ways where you just get better and better and better in whatever area that you're in. And so this doesn't apply to just people who are struggling with mental illness or mental struggles, but really just high brain performance and taking whatever level you're at right now and just increasing that and increasing your lifestyle in a way.
And one of the things that I realized is that if we can remove each of these foundational framework pieces in which we used to think, that we end up going deeper into that chemical response. And that's what I realized, and that's what the neuroscientists were saying, is that one of the struggles that the mainstream modalities that were, and even non-mainstream, trying to help people, is that they were trying to get them to the place of finding relief. And finding relief feels great, but it's not enough of a chemical experience to create the neuroplasticity to rewire it to a different place. And so by going deeper into these concepts of understanding our neurology and our chemical experience and understanding how those chemicals attach with our emotions, and understanding our emotions, and really going deep on these things, we can help someone massively shift that connectivity to where they don't have to discipline themselves. They don't need coping mechanisms. They can actually overcome and completely shift and transform the way they see it. And
we like to present that in 3 phases. So a lot of the times we get stuck in this pain phase, right? That's phase 1, is being in that pain or that suffering. And we really want to find that relief or find a way out of it, right? Fix that problem. And phase 2 is when we find that relief, right? We just treat the symptoms of whatever our body is feeling in that moment. So let's say we're struggling with sleep, for a very simple example, and we just take medication, or we try to get more sleep, or we try to treat those symptoms rather than going deeper into the core of what is causing us to not get that sleep. Rather than just trying to change it from an external way, we can go deeper into that core and say, okay, what's going on in our brain or in our life or our chemical experience that is actually causing us to not be able to sleep? Because when we try to just treat those things with the symptoms, a lot of the time we are just using those modalities or those methods to kind of escape and not actually fix the problem, but just feel that relief. And that's why we go back to the pain. We go from phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 1 to phase 2, pain to relief to pain to relief, and not really changing those patterns or changing what's going on. We're just temporarily feeling that.
Yeah, and I'll use an example of myself. So being positive, right? Being positive can help us find relief from a scenario or a situation. We can be positive in the moment. We can focus on the things that make us feel better about the situation. But does that directly solve the problem so that that situation or those old feelings don't come back again? And that's the key, is finding the way to see something, the way to process it, that is actually changing it so much that there is no more triggers, right? So if you drain out of energy, you can do things to bring your energy back, but you might not have figured out what drained your energy in the first place. And if you can find out what drained your energy in the first place and the perceptions around that, because energy is a creation that happens inside of us, and that's based off, think about it, when you're depressed, your energy goes down. When you're overwhelmed, your energy goes down. Like, there's all these things that happen. So being able to get to the core is really key.
And even thinking about how your brain, right? A lot of times we go to external sources or other people to try to fix us and what's going on in our brain. But who would be in the best place or position to help your brain? It would be you. You're the one who has the most control or the most ability to analyze and see what's going on in your brain, because it's your brain and you're constantly in it. And so being able to then go inside yourself, our company is actually called Fulfill Life Yourself, because this is about going internal and learning how you can help yourself in any of those times that you're feeling those triggers of frustration or fatigue or any of those things that you don't want to feel. And so this isn't a process of going back into your past and rehashing all that past trauma and feeling all those emotions again. It's nothing like that. It's about moving forward and just analyzing, kind of stepping away from yourself in a way and just analyzing and seeing what's going on and kind of seeing the facts or gathering data rather than being all caught up in the emotions and feeling all those things again. And so this is something where you don't have to have anyone else to help you. You're becoming your own superhero in a way of learning this tool or this system that you can apply in any time in your life and getting to that place of peak performance, peak brain performance and success.
And I love what you said, because this is about self-empowerment. And so when you're looking at all these different things that people attempt to do to help their situation, that so many of them tend to be kind of band-aids, and they aren't giving us the power. Now, there's nothing wrong with them. They're still helpful. It's helpful to put a band-aid, right? Those can be really helpful things to do. But you know that if you have to keep going back to it, then it hasn't gone to the core, right? And if that's all you know, that's all you know. And do what you know, right? Being positive is great, doing a lot of emotional release and a lot of releasing and letting go of thoughts and feelings, but transforming them is a whole different experience. Maybe you suffered with some trauma, or you had childhood abuse, or maybe you've had abusive relationships, or maybe you've been a victim to crime or other things, or maybe your brain is just playing out in these different ways. But it's great to do things, there's breath work, and there's all kinds of great energy work and all these things that can help us. And what we're offering is to try to take this and go deeper with it and find that core of where it comes from. And the neuroscientists will say it comes from what's going on up here. It's this wiring. It's this way that our brain is meeting needs, right? So these struggles that we have, like Mikkel said, this stress and this pain and this suffering and this anger and this frustration, they meet needs somehow. And so there's deficits in there. And this model is designed to help people discover those deficits.
And it's a process that's really fun. Because while you're going through and analyzing your brain, you're progressing and learning so much that it gives you that hope. It gives you that motivation to keep searching, or to keep looking, or to keep finding things, because you keep discovering new things all the time. And when you get to that place where you've seen this old pattern or this old way of thinking or this old belief, and now you recognize and analyze and can see that way of thinking isn't serving you, it's kind of like you have this aha moment. And because you can analyze on such a different level, a lot of times we get to this place where we're like, okay, yeah, I know what the problem is, but now what do I do, right? And then you're still stuck. And so it's really cool because you can analyze and get to that place where you see it, and you can come up with an alternative solution, an alternative way that your brain can meet those chemical needs, those same needs you were meeting over here, but in a new way that's really serving you and lights you up to where you're thriving in life. That's what the third stage is thriving in life, where you're excited to get up every morning. You're not just dealing with or coping with or having a good life, or I'm great. It's like you're amazing. You're ecstatic. You're excited. You're motivated. And so being able to go from that pain step, right? The first phase of pain, and skipping that relief part and just going straight to the thriving and having an exciting life and things that light you up. But it's really about getting to that point. Go ahead.
Yeah. And so we've got about 8 minutes left here. So I just wanted to cover a couple things. One is I want to share a story of one client, of hundreds of clients. So one of the things that you hear a lot of miraculous stories with lots of different modalities. A lot of times they do help at a high level with some clients. Our success rate at that clinic was over 90% success, helping people with extreme mental struggles. So no matter what situation you're in, we invite you to come and listen more. I'm gonna share a quick story, but I'll tell you there are hundreds of stories like this. We have now left that office, and we do group sessions. We have a whole program, and it's a 3-month program that we go through that teaches you in an exciting and fun way, in an experiential way, how your brain works so you can see it differently, and how to rewire it, how to change it. I've changed a whole series of things in myself to have a completely different life experience. I am a different person. I've even changed the flavor of foods that I eat. I took foods that made me gag because of the flavor, and I actually love those foods now. I've been able to completely eliminate everything, all of my hypoglycemia, and I can fast I've fasted 4 days on just water. And and that's just the beginning. I mean, really massive shifts and changes. And I've taken these patterns that some would diagnose as ADHD, and I've turned them into things to help me and to serve me, into these deep meditations where I come up with concepts and ideas. And I'm not saying this to brag for myself. I'm saying this is what the model does. And so I want to share just a quick story of one lady who called me up. I'd only talked to her once. She started our program. She just began our program. We have this 5-hour session that we do that she does digitally. And she did that session, and she said, it completely changed me. I completely realized that all this lifelong attempt, she said for about 20 years, she had really been dedicated in trying to work through all of her childhood trauma. She had massive bouts of childhood trauma, complex PTSD from all these events as a child. And she had been working through those, and she'd been doing energy work and all these different things. And she went through that program, and she said, I don't need it anymore. She went to see her energy worker, and they said, something's changed. She said, I know. She goes, I don't see any childhood trauma to work through. And she goes, I know, because I don't care anymore. Like, she had made such a foundational shift in how this framework was put together in her brain that she didn't need to cope with it anymore. She didn't need to deal with it. She didn't have to walk through it. You don't have to go through all that. You can understand what's going on right now, and you can change it in such a massive way that it doesn't affect you anymore. It's transformed her memory of those experiences, and those experiences have now transformed into information that she can now leverage to help her become the person she wants to become, to have the life she wants to live. She now sees that trauma as something that's going to give her, that's a gift to her, to help her live this life that's so much higher than she ever would have attained before. Imagine having that perspective around your struggles and your triggers and the things going on in your life. And so with our last just few minutes here, we want to introduce to you an event that we call the Learn to Fly event. FLY is our acronym for Fulfill Life Yourself, because that's what it feels like when you have this experience, is you feel so light, like you can fly, like you can do things you never believed that you could do before. Now, we've had this program going for some time. We have over 100 people on it now. We've had hundreds of people through this program. And we have and this is something people will tell you, these miraculous experiences from the things that they're doing, but rarely will they say that it happens with over 90% of their clients. Over 90% of the people have gone through this program. And not only that, but working with mental health, I don't know anyone out there who says, we'll give you 100% money back guarantee. 100%. Our programs are inexpensive, and they have 100% money back guarantee. So we do an event to introduce this at a higher level. I know a lot of you are thinking, wow, I know people who could really help this. Now, I want to point out, first of all, you can use it. No matter where you're at, how great you think life is, it can get so much better. It's all a comparison of where you're at. Everyone needs it just as much as the next. So we have this event we call our Learn to Fly event. And this event is a 3-hour experience where you come in and learn some of these concepts, and you experience these concepts. You're able to ask questions and process and understand at a deeper level. You can bring people with you. And this event is normally $200, and we're going to give you a code and a link to go to our website and punch in a code that will bring this $200 price down to $45.
Because we're in Utah, and so the Energy Healing Conference this Saturday being in Idaho, we decided to do a Learn to Fly event on Monday, March 13th from 6 to 9, so that we can get all of those people there in person. We really love to do things in person, feeling all of that energy as a group. And so we're really excited for that on Monday.
Yeah. And if you're not in Utah, we have one coming on the 18th. And when you go to this link, it won't show the Idaho there, but go ahead and sign in and do that. And also, if you do it before the end of the conference, you can bring an extra person for free. So it's $45, and you get to bring 2 people and have this life-changing experience. Get on this path of this life-changing experience. And this will introduce you to the different programs we have, the different options for individuals, for families. While we're going to stay in Idaho for a couple days, and we're actually meeting with a family to do a family session. We are meeting with clients up there. We're starting to get into Idaho now. So if you're in Idaho, we're excited to meet you. And one of the best ways is come listen more at the Energy Healing Conference. We'd love to meet you there. But
We'll be
we have
speaking at 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. And we're really excited to be speaking twice because our first presentation is kind of an overview of what we do and sharing stories of different clients and facilitators. And our second presentation is about helping those do what we do with other people. So teaching how to facilitate and help those people through those breakthroughs and brain reprogramming.
Because of those hundreds of clients we had a lot of them come back and say, how did you do that? I tried so long to work on this, and they became facilitator. We put together a facilitator course. Now we have facilitators, and in our programs, you get matched up to a facilitator, and you get to have that extra help and that coaching and that one-on-one attention. And if you want to become a facilitator, we are expanding at an incredible rate right now. And so we need more facilitators. So go through this program yourself, learn and have your own personal experience and gain that passion and that understanding of this miraculous experience, and then have the opportunity to go out and share and even make a career out of it. And we're so excited that this has taken off the way it has. And we're excited to have everybody, participate and be able to be exposed to this. So if you know people who are struggling or that just like to learn about their brain or want to perform, or maybe they're just not performing in life and they're not excited and they're struggling to get out of the house or to do anything or to be excited about their relationships or their life, have them come and listen. This Energy Healing Conference is a great place to listen to not only us, but so many others that are providing things to help people understand what's going on, so they're not stuck anymore in their old patterns, and they can actually, take life by the horns and actually direct and create the life that we want. And even people, we use this for people who are just trying to perform at a higher level. This is literally just a performance model. And the person who's struggling with mental health, they're struggling because they're not performing. The actions that they're taking, the things they're doing on the outside don't align with what they believe inside. And I'll say that one of the biggest struggles out there is that distraction that technology provides. It's that distraction that life has, and how it can just keep our attention going different ways. And where our attention goes is where our energy flows. And we need that to be able to, we need that understanding and that grasp of what our attention is doing and where it drives us. And this model is what keeps us and keeps that attention where it will help us to be reprogramming and experience life and having fun and enjoying our time. And I'm wondering if Tammy's coming back on. There she is. We can't hear you, Tammy.
Oops. I muted myself. I'm really looking forward to having you guys come and speak twice. So thank you guys so much. That's awesome that you're getting in with some other families in Idaho. I have a ton of family on both my mom and my dad's side in the Idaho Falls area. In fact, my dad still lives in Idaho, so you'll probably get to meet him tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, that's really fun. Yeah, all my grandmas are buried in the area, and kind of fun stuff to be able to go and make a difference for people up there. So thank you guys for joining in.
Actually, my mom grew up in Idaho Falls, and my dad grew up in Idaho too. So my whole childhood has been visiting Idaho. So I'm excited to go back.
Back and forth.
My grandparents are buried there also, all four of them.
That is awesome. I'm so sorry, Mikhail. I just barely saw your comment. Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, very cool. We'll see you guys this weekend then. And I really do appreciate how you take things a little bit differently. I would call you a paradigm shifter. That would be like a term that I would use to describe, because I've worked with you before, and it literally, that would be the term. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, that's a term I think coined by Stephen Covey. the paradigm shift, or he used it. Maybe he didn't come up
Yeah,
with
I learned it from Bob Proctor because I used to mentor with Bob when
Uh-huh.
he was still on the earth. But he would also teach about this thing called the terror barrier. So I would also call you a terror barrier expert, because as you're approaching that paradigm shift, it can like freak your nervous system out, you know. But you help people to kind of go through that in a less scary, freakish, outish way. You know what I mean? I think this whole time that you've been talking, how would I describe Lamont?
Yeah.
Paradigm shift expert. People
Yeah.
have this like, there's all these neuroscientific ways to describe certain things, you know, like you can't see out of the bubble, you can't see what you can't see, you can't notice what you can't notice, but you help them to notice what they can't notice on their own.
Yes.
So
And that is really what the model is designed to do, to put it in there, because we help people do it, but we're just using the model. So we want to teach them, here's how you do it yourself.
Yeah.
So that you don't need someone there prompting you. You have something you can go straight to, and a specific, simple process that helps you be able to get through those parts where you feel stuck and you can't see, and open your eyes, see things in a different way.
Yeah, I'd like to know again, where do people go to find out about the event that you're doing in Idaho Falls after the conference?
Yeah, so that will come when it's in the same vicinity of where the conference is, in a hotel there. That when they sign up, it'll send them an email as a response and actually we'll be following up with them as they sign up. So,
okay.
And on our website, we also have a tab that says Learn to Fly events, and they can click on that tab. And currently we don't have the March 13th event posted there, but we'll get that on there today and have that there.
That's awesome. So they can go right to this website right here, Fulfill Your Life, or Fulfill Life Yourself. You got to look a little bit closer, y'all. Look at how many L's are there. You know, it throws your brain for a little bit of a loop, but I love that. All right, cool. Well, I just wanted to make sure that people knew about it so they can go there and check that out, and you'll have details posted a little bit later. So yeah, that'll be great.
And thank you, Tammy, by the way, for giving us the idea of having this separate event, because I haven't told you how successful it's been. We have had incredible success using that idea that you gave us to have a separate continuing event. And it gives us that extra 3 hours to really help people understand deeply, you know, what their brain's capable of and what they're capable of. And we usually have about 80 to 90% of the people that attend those events sign up. And so it's really great. So thank you.
You're very welcome. I just know that at a 50-minute workshop, you can not possibly give them all the details that you're wanting to give them. It's more of a taste, really, you know? So between the Facebook Live today, people getting information here, then going to the conference, whether they attend 1 or 2 classes, they still will get so much benefit from going to that next workshop. So that's great. Yeah.
And that second class that we teach is more about facilitating and becoming a facilitator to help others. And I just want you to know, we have so many facilitators. We have life-changing experiences. We have mothers that will bawl their eyes out talking about how glad they are that they came to that conference and that they were able to discover some of these new things and just completely change their lives. I would love to spend time giving you more information and telling you more, because you are having such a huge impact, Tammy. I just want to just give you my love and heart for just working so hard and dedicating so much to giving people an opportunity to learn new things that their brain hasn't understood before, and be introduced to such an incredible group of people that are so kind and loving, and just it's just such a great thing. I hope I hope you use this to light yourself up every day, because you are amazing. You're just doing such great things.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. And I actually do get people sending me emails quite a bit. And believe it or not, they really do fuel me to keep doing this, because I've been doing these for 10 years and I have 8 freaking kids. Like, it's not like I'm not busy, you know what I mean? But I know it's helping people. I had a business mentor yesterday asked me, so what is your why? Like, what fuels you? And I told him, quite frankly, I really love people. And he said, yeah, but what else? And I'm like, that's my why. You asked me my why. This is like, and I'm more of a bridge. You know what I mean? I'm a connector. I just like to connect people with the people that they need, that they're looking for. I'm a student of this work. You know what I mean? I was actually looking at my calendar a moment ago and I'm like, oh my gosh, my brain injury that I got last year was a year ago yesterday, but I didn't even notice that yesterday. And I'm like, that's actually really cool. That's like, because I could have spent the whole day bawling my eyes out, but instead I was actively making a difference.
And you know what I think is one of the most powerful things about what you're doing is that one of the things we teach in this model is that as in a parenting perspective, your children don't do what you teach them. They do what you do.
That is true.
And what you do is amazing. And that tells me your kids are also all going to be amazing. They're all going to have these hearts that love other people just like you do. And that is that if there's no other reward than that, it's literally the best thing you can do for your kids is to go out and serve at that level and live life so high and so enjoyable. You're just doing so many things.
Thank you. That's so sweet of you. I really do appreciate that very much. All right. Well, we'll see you this weekend. This is going to be so fun. We'll see you guys really soon. Drive safe and we'll see you there.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Tammy.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Oh, isn't that so cute? He works so well with his daughter. I love it so much. Every time I see them, well, she's a lot taller than I thought she would be in real life. But she just has an aura about her. And you know, what he was just saying about parenting and stuff. It's like, where's she getting that from? She's got a really special light about her. And you can just see the adoration that they have for each other. It's really pretty special, very inspiring. So anyway, we'll see you in Idaho Falls for those of you who are local there. If not, that's okay. I'll be back next week. We're going to have a little bit of an after party here on our Facebook Live, where we'll be talking about some of the highlights. And then we will also be talking about our next conference, which is happening March 25th. It's a bilingual conference for people who also speak Spanish, and that will be down in Lehigh. You can come if you speak English, no problem at all. So if you would like a free ticket for that because you're down in that area, please feel free to send me an email, tammy@hopehavenevents.com. I'd be honored to gift you a free ticket to that as well. I know we have not been in the Utah County area for some time, and we have so many people that have asked us. This will definitely be a little bit more of an intimate event. We can only fit about 200 people at that location, but it's so special, and we're just so excited to be there. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time.